50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 19. 18. 17.
16.
Go ahead, do it.
15. 14. 13. 12. 11. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Hello everyone, live from Bennett Stadium in Lyons Township. This is Craig Cole along with Matt Allison with the Lyons Township Lions are about to take on our very own Hilltoppers of Glenbard West. Lyons Township is 6-0 and 4-0 in conference. They're ranked 7th in the state. LT is led on offense by Chuck Rainey, number 35 on the offense. You'll have to look for him. Glenbard West is 6-0 also, and they are rated 3rd in state. They're led by quarterback Chris Hart and running back Jim Konopka, who is the leading rusher in the conference with 585 yards over a total of 6 games. So he's a little under 100 yards per game. Matt Allison is with me today. Bill Payton is on vacation. Matt, what is the prospect for today? What's the weather
well,
the game?
Well, Craig, it was raining all this morning, and the field has turned more like into a swamp than a football field. They're announcing the starting lineups, and as the players run out, water's flying up. When we came in there, we saw the sophomores coming off the field, and you could tell who'd played. They had mud all over their faces. It's going to be a fight out there.
We'll try to keep the numbers straight as the day goes on. It's going to be very very difficult to see the names or the numbers. So we'll try to keep you up to date as much as possible. They're announcing the LT starting lineup right now. The quarterback is going to be senior Jim Puba. He's in for the injured David Wojcik, the coach's son, who was injured 2 weeks ago. Puba's a 5'11", 170-pound senior, and he'll be number 12 out there on the field. Chuck Rainey is the big man in the backfield, as I've told you before. You have to look for him. The Glenbard, it's going to be very difficult for the offensive line and the defensive line to get their footing down there for Glenbard West. And the Glenbard West, those lines are the key for the Glenbard West team is they open the holes for Konopka on offense, and they stop the run as they did last week against the 2 big backs of Edwards and Walton last week against Downers Grove. They're the keys, so we'll have to watch for the slippery conditions out there that the Lions can hold out there against the Lions of LT.
Okay, so Glenbard West will be kicking off to Lyons Township. They didn't have a lot of time to practice before the game, getting a few last-minute words of advice from their coach, head coach Mr. Wojcik, Dave Wojcik's father, who was injured with a broken arm earlier this year. It's really hurt the team.
Well, they do most of the warming up inside. They run the plays in the gymnasium with their shoes off, and then they come out here and do a couple drills, get their footing on the field. So it'll be Glenbard West will be receiving with Jeff Sweet, Konopka, and Holmes back there. Holmes on the far side, Konopka in the middle, and Sweet on the near side. It'll be LT kicking off, and it'll be number 13, I believe, Siam Bekos kicking off. So we're almost ready. This is a big game here. Glenbard West has to win to keep their undefeated string alive and their top rating in the state alive. And LT has to also win. This is really for the conference championship today.
After today, Glenbard West will have to take on Hinsdale Central at home and then meet Oak Park on the road. As you know, Oak Park defeated Glenbard West in the final game of the year to ruin any of their chances of winning the West Suburban Conference Finals. So I think Glenbard will be up for that game, and if we win today, we shouldn't have any problem with the rest of the season.
Siam Bekos lining up way to the near side. He's going to try to kick it towards Sweet and away from Konopka. Try to make Glenbard West run wide on the kickoff return. And here's the kickoff starting the game. It's going to right to Sweet at the 20. He fumbles it immediately, picks it up at the 25, the 30, finds some room up the middle, and he's down about the 30-yard line. And there's a fumble, and I think LT has recovered. And LT has recovered, and Jeff Sweet just couldn't keep the handle of that ball. Twice he fumbled it, and the last time it was a fatal mistake. As Glenbard West, as LT will be able to have the first advantage of the game as they recover on the 25-yard line of Glenbard, the 30-yard line of Glenbard West. So LT will start out on offense.
You're going to be seeing a lot of that today. The ball's going to be awfully hard to hold. The referee hands the ball to the center as he walks up to the line. They don't want to place it on the ground.
Steve Beek is the quarterback in there for Lyons Township. As he hands off, it's a fumble, and it's recovered by West, and it's Jeff Sweet picking up and running down the sidelines. He's at the 30, the 25, he's gonna go all the way in for a touchdown. What a change of events right there, touchdown, Jeff Sweet. 2 fumbles in a row, and Glenbard West just scored, unbelievable.
Oh, wow, this is gonna be one weird game. Jeff Sweet making amends for his earlier mistake by picking up that fumble and running all the way for the TD, about 70 yard
return for Jeff Sweet on the fumble. The pitch out was going to go out to the running back, Rainey, I believe, and he just couldn't keep the hands on it. And Glenbard West capitalized and went in for the score. So Glenbard West, Pat Young, the junior, is in there now to attempt the extra point. High snap, he's got it, and it looks good. It is good. 7-0 in favor of Glenbard West with 11:23 left in the first quarter.
37 seconds into the first quarter, Glenbard leading 7-0. You could be looking for a fumble on this kickoff. It's gonna be one long game.
Both teams are gonna have multiple turnovers all day. And we'll just have to keep looking for it, and it's the team who comes up with the capitalization on those turnovers that will win. And Glenbard West got a lucky break there and turned it into their advantage. So Glenbard West will kick off this time. And it'll be number 20. That's George Rainey back there. And can't find number 30, I believe. We'll try to get that name down for you.
I think that's number 23. I don't know, can't really tell. Oh, Andy Andrasic set to kick off, kicking Bulgarian style with the side on the ground.
It's a high kick right to number 23. It's gonna fake reverse as he comes this way to the near side, runs up, he's got some room on the sidelines, and he gets down to the 35-yard line.
Number 22, Kurt Mills with that run back. It'll be 1st and 10 for Lions at about the 38-yard line of Lions. It's a rainy, dismal day in Lyons Township. It's been raining all morning. There was rain last night. The field is just a lake. It's wet.
2 teams have already played on it, and the freshmen and the sophomores, and they've made the field difficult to stand on. Both Rainies are in the backfield, Chuck and George, as the quarterback hands up the middle to George Rainey, and he gets about a yard at the most as he tries to run up the middle.
So it'll be about 2nd and 9, 10:57 left in the game in the first quarter.
It's going to be a very conservative game. They'll try to keep it on the ground as much as possible, and try to grind out the yards. And that's Glenbard West. That's Glenbard West brand of ball. LT's got 2 fine running backs, and George and Chuck Rainey. So we'll have to see which combo in the backfield wins out today. And it's a key to the offensive line also.
We'll see how Jim Kanapka can handle the wet ground.
Hand off to Rainey up the middle. He goes for another yard or so. George again up the middle.
Jim Kanapka is leading the West Suburban Conference in rushing on 131 carries at 785 yards. His biggest game was homecoming game against York, where he rushed for 249 yards in a winning effort.
So the quarterback, number 11, Steve Peak, a 5'11", 150-pound junior, is the quarterback. I formation. George is standing up in the backfield. It's a handoff. It's going to be an option play. Option down to George, but it's recovered by Glenbard West on a fumble. That's Tom Vondrak down there. The option, it was covered very well by Vondrak on the option play. Peaks ran into some trouble and flipped it out, but he lost control of the ball as he flipped it out to Rainey, and the ball went into the ground, and Tom Vondrak very literally fell on it. So Glenbard West again capitalizing on the second turnover by LT. We'll start 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. The score is 7-0 in favor of Glenbard West.
So we'll see Chris Hart and Jim Konopka for the first time. Also in the backfield is
Marcus Strowski, the other junior.
Curtis Strowski for Glenbard.
Curtis Strowski, excuse me. Fumble by Hart, and it's retained by Glenbard West. Hart has had a series of troubles with the snap from center all season, and today it's more important than ever that he get control of that ball, and he fumbled it on the first play from the line of scrimmage. Luckily, he was able to retain it.
I was talking to Coach Covert earlier this week, and they said that Randy Wozniak and Chris Hart have really been working on timing that snap, but got to keep those fumbles from occurring.
Sweet in the tight in the slot position on the far side. He comes in motion now. Can't even see his number. Hand off to Konopka as he tries to get outside to the near side. Gains about 3 yards. Konopka's style of running is going to be very hard to duplicate today, because his style of running is to bust through tacklers and to keep his legs moving. But when you can't get any traction, it's hard to keep your legs moving when hit by the first tackler.
So it'll be about 3rd and 8. Approaching the 6-minute mark of the first quarter.
Chris Hart, the senior quarterback, according to statistician I talked to today, leads the conference in passing yardage. So we've got 2 leaders in the conference in the backfield of Glenbard West. Hart takes the snap, pitches out to Konopka on the near side, trying to find some room on the outside. But number 22, Kurt Mills, 21, excuse me, Toby Casella came very literally up in the secondary position and took Konopka down.
So Glenbard will either, I think they'll be punting.
They'll try to kick it in the coffin corner and put LT as far back toward the goal line as possible. So it'll be 4th and 7 at the 33-yard line.
So they'll be attempting for the first down. Strowski and Konopka in the backfield.
You might watch a draw play here. They hand right up the middle to Strowski, I think, as he goes up the middle. Strowski was the ball carrier, 2 yards on the play. So it'll be first down for Lyons Township.
Haven't seen any plays in the air.
Well, they're going to keep it on the ground all day. 7:07 left in the first quarter. It's 7-0 in favor of Glenbard West. This is WGHS 88.5 FM. I'm Craig Call along with Matt Allison, who's subbing for the vacationing Bill Payton. As we see the west wall of Glenbard West line up, Randy Wozniak is the middle linebacker, the key to the defense. They're in a shotgun formation. Peaks looking, throws, and it's almost intercepted, but number 22, Mills, catches it on the sideline. He's got some running room down the sideline, and he's upended by a fine tackle, open field tackle by Sean Kelly. Sean Kelly was the only man between him and the goal line. Mills was able to escape 2 tacklers right after he caught the pass and had plenty of running room down the sideline, and he gained about 40 yards on that play as he got all the way down to the 35-yard line of Glenbard West. So now LT is in scoring position. I don't think anybody expected to pass right in this part of the game with the rain coming down as it is. But it was effective there, caught everybody by surprise as they'll line up again or the shotgun formation again. Trying to open up the offense. Snap to Peaks, he throws, dumps it off, but it's incomplete as this pass fell way short of intended receiver number 82, Doug Struckman.
On that last play when Glenbard West defender tried to intercept that pass, Once he missed it, and Mills caught it, he had 25 good yards before Kelly had a chance to bring him down. A nice open field tackle, just brought his legs right out from underneath him to keep him from scoring. So it'll be 2nd and 10.
And they'll line up in a regular formation this time with 2 Rainies in the backfield, Chuck and George. Chuck is 35, number 20 is George Rainey. 2 men split, wide to either side. It's a pass, a quick pass to number 21 of LT, but he drops it. That's Toby Casella, and Andy Andrzejczyk hit him a little late, but there are no flags on the play. 6:09 left in the first quarter. They tried to pass again. He had plenty of yards he had plenty of running room down the sideline. If he had caught the pass, I think he was looking toward too soon down the sideline, and he just lost concentration.
So 3rd and 10, 7-0. 6:09 left in the first quarter.
Glenbard West awaiting the LT Lions as they'll split out Casella again to the near side and another receiver to the far side. I formation with George Rainey standing up in the back. These Peaks fades back again for the 4th time in a row. He throws, but it's intercepted by Jeff Sweet. At the 30-yard line, he gets down to the 33, so that's the 2nd time Sweet has broken up. Was able to capitalize a turnover.
Jeff Sweet stepped right in front of number 82, Doug Struckman, to intercept that pass. That's the 2nd turnover Sweet is capitalized on. So Glenbard West avoids the threat by Lyons Township and will have the ball at their own 38-yard line.
Well, LT making a lot of mistakes. Right there on the turnovers, they were very successful for those four plays that they threw, though, getting down to the 35-yard line. But that time it just didn't work out. His heart rolls out, hands off, and gets around to the end as he pitched out to Konopka. Getting down, gain of about 1 yard. He couldn't get outside at all. Good pursuit there by the LT defense. So Glenbard West gets up to about the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 8. 2nd and 9. We'll make it. We'll see what Glenbard West can do. Try to get the more points on the board. They already have 7 points on the board after a recovered fumble that Sweet ran all the way back for 75 yards for a touchdown. Hart calling the count. Sweet looking. He's going to throw. He throws long, and he's got Sweet open, but it's intercepted by number 40 as Sweet falls, and he's at the 35-yard line. He's going to try to turn it upfield. It's at the 40, the 45 before he's finally taken down by Tom Vondrak.
Number 40, Jim Kurtzman with the interception for LT as Jeff Sweet fell down in the middle of his pattern. He was right out.
He would have been open too because Kurtzman was playing behind him and he cut in front of him, but Sweet just slipped on that cut and the pass just went to Kurtzman.
He was around the 40-yard line of LT, which is one of the worst spots on the field. It's really wet right around there, and he just fell down, and Kurtzman was there to pick it off.
So Glenbard West
keep track of these turnovers.
I think that's the 4th turnover, 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions in the first quarter alone. So it's going to be one of those kind of days today. He hands off to Rainey. Chuck this time goes up the middle for about a yard, maybe 2 yards. So we'll call it 2nd and 8 at the 43-yard line. 48, excuse me. 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Defensive Glenbard West just has to. The defensive line has got their job cut out for them because they have to be able to take the blast off the line by the offense and then try to keep their footing so they can come back and hit the runner. And they've done very well so far. They go back in the shotgun position as Steve Peaks, the quarterback. Probably via pass play. He's looking. He's got time. He throws. And it's caught by number 22 again, Mills, as he gets around one tackler, and he's going to be down to the 5-yard line before he's finally brought down. He made quite a move.
Nice catch by number 22, Mills.
Our defensive secondary man back there, and Mills was sandwiched between 2 defensive backs, and he still caught the ball. A good pass there by quarterback Steve Peaks, and he was able to run for about 15 yards more down to the 5-yard line. So LT is in scoring position as Kurt Mills was able to catch that pass and get it down to the 7-yard line. So 3:17 left in the first quarter. Glenbard West 7, Lions 0, but it looks like Lions could put it in right here. They split 2 men they have twins on the right side. 2 receivers outside. Peaks calls the count, hands off to George Rainey, tries to get outside. Good pursuit there by Brian McWhorter, but there's a touchdown. Brian dived at his ankles and brought him down, but his forward progress was in the end zone. So LT scores at the 2:53 mark in the first quarter, 7-6 in favor of West.
Extra points are going to play a big part in this game. If Glenbard West can keep Lions from scoring the extra points, they should have an advantage when time expires. There have been 4 turnovers already, a fumble and an interception for each team. So kicking the extra point for LT will be number 12, Jim Puba.
The rain is really starting to come down now. It's been coming down all day, but it's really a little more strength to it now.
No, Jim Puba will be holding.
Understandably, not a lot of fans here today, but we're glad you're listening to WGHS 88.5 FM. 2:53 left in the first quarter. The score is 7-6. I'm surprised that both teams have scores on the board so early in the game with the rain coming down as it is and the field in this condition. And it's up, and it looks good. No, it's wide. Wide to the right.
Chris Ciambecos with that kick for Lions Township went wide to the right, so it'll remain 7-6.
Well, that could really hurt LT later on in the game, being down by that 1 point. Glenbard West could come back and score, and then they'll be 2 up, even if they put the extra point on the board. And if they try for the 2, then they'll put them out of range, and they'll have to get a field goal. But Ciambecos did show that he has a strong foot. He put that one right up there as quickly as possible. So Glenbard West will be back to receive. Standing around the own 10-yard line is Barry Holmes on the far side, Jim Konopka in the middle, and I believe that's number 20, Dirk Myers, standing on the near side at the 10-yard line. It'll be Ciambecos kicking off.
He's lining up way right again.
Gonna kick it to Dirk Meyer. Try to keep it away from the Konopka so they don't get a good run back.
You're listening to Glenbard West football. Glenbard West at Lions Township, battling for the West Suburban Conference title.
The 7th game of the season for Glenbard. They've gone undefeated so far. So is LT. It's a battle of the undefeated. Good kick down to the 10-yard line. It bounces over Dirk Meyer's head, but goes out of bounds. And Dirk never touched it, so that'll be a 5-yard penalty. And they'll bring it back. And okay, they'll give the 5 yards on the offense. So they'll bring it up to the 25-yard line.
You can't hear me? You want these headphones?
Oh, I believe the ruling.
First and 10 on the 40.
Okay, 1st and 10 on the 40. That's the ruling. They bring it up to the 40-yard line if they kick it out of bounds.
It's one of the dangers of lining up way to the one side. You're more prone to kick it out of bounds.
So Hart will start at his 40, handing off to Konopka, who's hit right behind the line of scrimmage by a host of Lions Township tacklers.
Tackled by Craig Levensky.
2:41 left in the first quarter, and 7-6 in favor of Glenbard West.
How did freshman do this morning?
Freshman won both levels, A and B. 8 times.
So we'll see if
With who? With who? Who'd you play?
Glenbard West can get something started on offense. They already have one score, but that was by the defense, and their offense hasn't generated much at all so far. As Hart pitches out to Konopka, way deep, and he's hit behind the line again. 3 yards, about a loss of 3, or so it'll be a 3rd and about 15. 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Konopka, that was a deep pitch to Konopka, and he only gained about 2 yards from where he caught the ball, and that was still way behind the line of scrimmage.
Konopka having some problem with his footing on this wet turf.
Well, I think Mr. Jim Culvert, the head coach for Glenbard West, is trying to get the ball to the far side hash mark so that he doesn't have to play right up the middle where all the mud is. As Sweet comes in motion, Hart fades back for the second time this game, and he dumps it off to, I believe that's Kanopka on the sideline. He hurdles one player, and Andrazik caught that ball. It's hard to tell the numbers out here. Tripped up by Nash coming up from the safety position. He had some running room down the sidelines if he got past Nash, but Andrazik caught the ball for a gain of about 6-7 yards. It'll be 4th and 7. So they're bringing Sweet the punt with 1:04 left in the first quarter. Score is 7-6 in favor of Glenbard West. Sweet is covered with mud as he goes back to punt. Low snap, he's got hold of it, kicks, punts. It's back to Rainey. George Rainey picks it up and is immediately hit by, and then the second hit comes by 85. So the first hit was by Sean Kelly getting down there very rapidly, and as soon as Rainey took the ball, he was hit.
Rich Jensen with that tackle, a junior for Glenbard West, playing very aggressively on special teams.
Sean got his ankles and Jensen hit him high, and they brought him down. 36 seconds ticking away in the first quarter as LT will try again to get some offense generated. They had scored the last time down on some passing plays and mixing up their passing and running plays. Be a handoff to George Rainey. He tries to get off the tackle guard between the tackle and the end, but there's no running room. And he gets about 1 yard to the 30-yard line.
It's letting up just a little here. There's still rain, but it's not nearly as heavy as it was a couple minutes ago.
But that field is terribly, could be swimming in it today. As that's the end of the first quarter. The score reads 7-6 in favor of Glenbard West. That score was scored by Jeff Sweet on a 75-yard fumble return on the second play of LT's scrimmage line. The first play of LT's offensive drive. And then just a couple minutes ago, LT drove down on a couple pass plays, got down to the 5-yard line, then punched it in. George Rainey from about 3 yards out scored.
Lyons Township has been relying a lot on the pass so far early in this game. Quarterback Steve Pekin for the injured Dave Wojcik has been putting the ball up in the air a lot. Rather successful at it too, throwing one interception, but capitalizing with some big plays to score their touchdown. So it'll be 2nd and 8 on the 30-yard line.
They back into shotgun formation goes Peaks, surrounded by his two backs. He's looking, throws, it's complete on the far side to number 22, Kurt Mills. 82, excuse me. Doug Struckman on the far side, gain of about 4 yards on that play. It'll be 3rd and 6. So the pass working pretty effectively there for Glenbard, for LT. And they've thrown quite a lot, mixing it up with the running plays. They can throw the short pattern. The short patterns really help them because the defensive backs have a hard time getting back up to the front line with the footing and everything. Tight eye formation, but Rainey goes in formation, goes in motion. Peaks again, looking, throws long, and is incomplete as the pass was intended for the back, George Rainey. Rainey came out of the backfield and went down the sideline, and he was not covered until he came down to the point where he was supposed to catch that pass.
The pass was a little short, but nobody could get their footing to turn around and intercept that ball. Sean Kelly came across for Glenbard West, but took a tumble right in the midst of a huge mud puddle.
So it'll be number 62 punting for LT. That's Craig Kahn back there. Low kick, about 35 yards, and it's going to lie there at the 40-yard line as Jeff Sweet backs off and says, no way.
Glenbard West will have relatively good field position. Going to try to put together their first substantial drive of the game to try to pick up a 7 or 8 point lead.
They'll probably just keep it on the ground, grind out the yards, mix it up with a pass maybe, and just keep it going with 11:01 in the second quarter.
You're listening to WGHS 88.5 in Glenellen. I'm Matt Allison along with Craig Cole, hoping you're enjoying the broadcast.
Hart hands off to Konopka, who loses his footing, tries to get outside, and is taken down after a gain of no gain, maybe a yard or so. We'll call it 2nd and 9.
For no gain, 2nd and 10, Glenbard at their own 40.
So Konopka not gaining many yards at all, maybe about 10 on about 4 carries so far. Footing is just terrible out there. As Wozniak, the center, brings Glenbard West up to the line. Sweet to the near side this time in a wing-back position. Chris Hart takes the snap, hands off to Konopka on a delay, tries to get outside. He's tackled behind the line. He gets away from 2 tacklers and is back up to the line of scrimmage. Good running there by Konopka with the footing problems, getting away from 2 would-be tacklers behind the line of scrimmage. The offensive line is just not keeping out the defense of LT at all, and the run is just being shut down very effectively by the LT defense. 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Score is 7-6 in favor of Glenbard West, as the LT defense is doing a fine job of containing Konopka on the run. They'll probably have to open it up as it's 3rd and 11 on that 1-yard loss. They're right in the middle of the field, right in the thick of the mud. Pitch back to Ostrowski, who bowls over 3 people, and good second effort there. 10-yard gain down to about the 49-yard line. An excellent play by Ostrowski. He would not be stopped. He just lowered his head, kept his feet moving, and got down to the 48-yard line. It'll be 4th and 2.
Ostrowski there picked up about as many yards as Jim Konopka has altogether on 6 or 7 carries, so maybe head coach Jim Cover will try Ostrowski a couple times. I believe they'll be going for it. No, Jeff Sweet's going to punt. Don't want to take any chances in their own field position. Back at about the 35.
Good snap. Low kick, low line drive, rolls, hit the man. He has to pick it up, but he falls immediately down on it. That was number 12 back there, Puba, and number 80 for Glenbard West, Jensen. 85, excuse me. Jensen down there on the tackle again. Good alert coverage there by Jensen, as Puba fumbled it initially, and Jensen was right there to cover. So with 9:06 left in the first half, it's 7-6 in favor of West, as LT will try again on offense as the blitz is on by Glenbard West. Peaks is in the shotgun formation. Quick pass out, and it's caught by number 92 for LT after a gain of about 5 yards. That's 82, Doug Struckman right there.
Nice catches.
They saw the blitz coming, and I think they changed the play because Struckman just came right out very quick, and Peaks just looked and found him right there.
So it'll be about 2nd and 6 on the 25-yard lines for LT. Peak has some pretty impressive passing figures so far this game.
We'll try to get those for you at halftime. 8:21 left in the first quarter. Peak's doing a fine job as the quarterback. They've got a man split to the far side. That's Mills as he goes back to shotgun formation again. Peak's looking. He's going to throw long to Mills on the sideline, down in the middle, and it's almost caught by Mills as he reached on the shoulder pad of Dirk Meyer to pick that one off, but it just was off his fingertips. Meyer was almost not even aware that the ball was right there.
I don't think Meyer knew the pass was coming. If he would have turned around, he might have had a chance to intercept that pass. Nice play, though. Alert play by Kurt Mills, almost catching that ball. Settling in the play for LT is number 80, Tim Cox.
They rotate the ends to bring in the play, just like Glenbard West rotates the tackles to bring in the offensive plays. So LT, 3rd and 6 yards to go. Peaks sets up in a shotgun formation. One man split to either side. It's a handoff this time to George Rainey, but Glenbard West is ready for it. And Vondrak's in pursuit, and he's finally taken down by 2 Glenbard West defensive men. They did not fall for that one at all. They were right there. The whole the whole right side of LT's offensive line broke down as Glenbard West just came in, pursued Rainey, and took him down for the loss of about 10, 15 yards.
It'll be fourth and 22. Yes, a loss of about 15 or 20 yards there. So Lions will be forced to punt, I assume. They're deep in their own territory on the 10-yard line. Fourth down, and they're already down by 1 point. So number 62, we're back to do the punting. That's Craig Kahn.
Kahn standing right at the goal line. Has to make this one good. They're probably gonna go for the block. High kick, good kick for the weather conditions as they let it roll a little bit, and Sweet picks it up and just slips and stays down.
Smart play by Sweet. He didn't want to risk the chance of fumbling it, and Glenbard West will have good field position at the Lions Township 43-yard line.
So he hit the ground and said, and that means nobody can hit him after that. And the rest called him down. So with 7:04 left, Glenbard West up 7-6. They'll be on offense again. The ball changing very rapidly between both offensive teams. Hart puts Sweet in motion to the far side. Hart fumbles the snap, but goes up the middle. He's got some running room. Gains about 6 yards on his own. I don't know if that was the intended play or not. I don't think so, but Chris Hart just found a little running room and busted his way up the middle.
That was a broken play. He kind of fumbled the handoff, kept possession, and just plowed through as Wozniak opened a hole for him and got about 6 yards. It'll be second and, let's make it a long 3.
So Glenbard West, crucial first down situation. Could get a first down on this play. Haven't had many of those this game at all. Hand off to Konopka, trying to bust it up the middle, and he slips and slides his way for a gain of about 2 yards. So it'll be 3rd and 2.
I don't think Glenbard has picked up a first down yet this game. If they haven't, might only be 1 or 2, but they want to try to get into field position for either a field goal or one big play, break it for a touchdown. Want to be up by more than 1 point at halftime. 5:46 left to go.
Only one time has Glenbard West been behind in a game, and that was York 2 weeks ago, right before they went into halftime. But Glenbard West tied it up before they went into the locker room. Handoff up over to the right side to, I believe that was Konopka.
Konopka's just not having a good game today. It'll be about 4th and a short 2.
They'll probably go for it. They're at the 35-yard line, or about the 35, 4th and 2.
No turnovers 7 minutes into the second quarter. They've apparently found out, gotten a hold of the ball better, or figured out why they were fumbling. So Glenbard West calls a timeout to figure out what they're going to do.
Coach Covert probably telling his players just to keep it loose. Crucial first down play. They want to keep a hold of the ball and not let LT get a hold of it before halftime and try to pass it into the end zone as they've tried to do most of the game so far. Glenbard West keeping it on the ground. They've only thrown a couple passes and not very successfully. LT, on the other hand, is most of their offense has been the passing game. They've done it 50-50 chance. Peaks does get some, has some good receivers and does complete a few of his passes, but hasn't been able to put it in the end zone since the first quarter.
Mr. Jim Colvert is the head coach for the Glenbard West varsity hitters, and he's had a terrific season so far this year, taking over about 7 years ago when Mr. Bill Duchan retired after about 18 years of terrific coaching. He's led the Hilltoppers to a few West Suburban Conference titles, and they're threatening once again this year.
Well, Mr. Covert is is one of the top-rated active Chicago coaches, top 15, I believe. As Hart trying to get something generated, trying to get the first down, fades back. They're going to throw on 4th down. He's looking, throws long, and Andrzejczyk, I believe, is down there, and he comes down with it. It's caught. Number 31, Jeff Sweet, catches the ball at the 6-yard line. What a catch. He was right between two defensive backs. Unbelievable he came up with that one.
I'm not sure.
I don't think
Sweet caught it.
I wasn't sure. I mean, I don't know. Nobody was expecting that play. I was expecting either Konopka or Ostrowski up the middle.
Especially in 4th and 2, that was a high-risk play by Coach Colbert, but it makes them look good on this play because they got it down at the 5-yard line. Sweet came up with a tremendous catch. Some say it might not even been a catch. It might have went down and dropped the ball on the ground and then picked it up under the.
You really can't tell with these field positions.
Konopka struggling for a gain of 1. He really struggled in there, but the offensive line is just not blasting out there like they've done in the weeks past, and Konopka is just not finding the hole.
I think it's a combination of those two things. Offensive line doesn't have the footing to jump out there and knock down their opponents, and Konopka's just not finding the holes as he has the other games. We'll try to get some stats for you on Konopka and Hart, and also Peak and the Rainies for LT at halftime.
4:07 as the LT fans cry, hold them. Hart rolling out, he's going to keep it himself, and it looks like he's going to be in for the touchdown. Hart rolling in from 5 yards out to his far side, found a lot of running room. No LT player touched him as he went in for the touchdown.
Nice keeper there by Hart. I don't think anybody was expecting the sweep, expecting to plow up the middle, so Glenbard West takes the 13-6 lead. Attempting the extra point will be the only person with a clean uniform out on the field. That's Pat Young, and holding will be number 10, Buddy Stefani.
Also with a clean uniform, he hasn't played. You can tell the ones who hasn't played today. But Young's been in once before, and he kicked the extra point for the first one. The snap, a little high. Young gets it, slips, but gets it through for the extra point. So it's 14-6. Glenbard West up by 8 points, and that puts LT in a position they have to score and then get the two points on the extra point try. So with 4 minutes left in the half, Glenbard West 14, Lyons Township 6. I'm Craig Cole along with Matt Allison, excuse me. Bill's on vacation, hopefully in sunny California. You're listening to Glenbard West football on WGHS 88.5 FM. Not a lot of crowds here from either team. I believe that Glenbard West may have about as many people here as LT.
Apart from the parents, not many students out here supporting the team. I can understand that. Probably at home where it's nice and dry. It's still raining, hasn't stopped raining all morning. The field is just in an abominable condition. And that will be Andy Andrasic kicking off again with the squib kick.
It'll be George Rainey on the far side, and try to get you the number on the near side.
What's the use of the squib kick?
Keeps it low. They don't want a high kick that they can return. And a squib kick, especially in this kind of weather, may cause a fumble, like you may have seen right there. Okay, they tried the onside kick that time.
Didn't work. Lyons Township will have relatively decent field position. I don't know in that situation if I would have tried an onside kick. You've only got under 4 minutes left in the half, and you're up by 8. I guess he wants to go up by 3 scores before halftime.
If LT gets the ball, though, they have the passing game, and if they complete a long pass right off the bat, there's a touchdown, and the momentum changes right in before halftime. So maybe, and with those conditions, the ball tends to squirt around, so that on an onside kick, there's more of a chance that it'll be effective. As Rainey tries to get outside, but he gains about 1 yard, I think. That was Chuck Rainey this time instead of George. So Peaks, the quarterback, handing off for the first play. Gains about 2 to be 2nd and 8. 3:10 left in the third quarter. LT brings it up to the line. We have Mills split to the near side. Another man split to the far side for LT. And Peaks back in shotgun formation. Defense playing off a little bit as Peaks looking, throws, and his intended receiver slips. And Andrasic was right there. That's 51 Wozniak was right there to step in front. He had a better chance than Mills did for the ball.
Glenbard playing the 6-1 defense, 6 players up on the line and 1 linebacker of Randy Wozniak. Defense has been working just outstandingly this year. They have one of the top-ranked defense in the Chicago area and maybe in the entire state of Illinois. They haven't let up more than, I believe it's 250 total yards offense all year.
Blitz is on. Peaks back there. He's chased by 3, 4 men. He dumps it off. A tip by 1 man of Glenbard West. Almost had the interception there. Was Tom Reitz, I think.
Peaks trying to dump it off to number 35, Chuck Rainey, but it was tipped by Jeff Sweet and fell down. If they could have sacked him there, it would have been a loss of maybe 20 or 25 yards and would have put out the fire of any chance for LT to score.
I think that was Tom Reitz who tipped it, who was back there. Good rush there. They had the blitz on, and Peaks was under a lot of pressure, and he couldn't find a man open downfield. Good job by both the defensive line and the secondary. That's the key to stopping the pass.
So Craig Kahn will be punting again. 4th and 7.
We've seen him, this I think is 3rd time on the field. Low
Nice
kick, not a bad one. 15-yard line, picked up at the 10 by Sweet, trying to get outside, and he's at the 20, the 25, and he's hit down at the 27. There's a penalty on the play. Could be a clip as Compton loses his helmet on the middle of the field, and I think it is against Glenbard West as LT rejoices as they come off the field.
First penalty of the game. It's been relatively penalty-free considering these conditions. It's been a well-played game so far.
10, 15 yards back. That's a blow there to the offense. It will probably be a clipping play, but we'll get the official call by the ref in just a second. It is clipping against Glenbard West. I didn't see the play at all. They called it on the far sideline as Sweet was hit. So Hart will probably keep it on the ground. They probably won't do anything before halftime. Just waste them. Just take the clock off. Pitch out to Ostrowski, who gains about 2 yards before well pursued by LT, who just massive gang tackled Ostrowski after a gain of 2. And that's the key to the defense. LT tends to gang tackle. They want everybody in on the tackle. They just don't want one standout. They want the whole defense there. And they're doing a fine job so far. Except for a couple breakdowns that on the last offensive drive by Glenbard West.
David Plor and Craig Levensky in with the tackle for Lyons Township. Lyons Township plays another, a lot of people up front. It might be 5-2.
Handoff up the middle to Kanopko, gains about 2 yards.
It'll be 3rd and 4 with 1:33 seconds left in the first half. Lyons Township calls a timeout. You're listening to Glenbard West football.
On WTHS 88.5 FM.
I'm Matt Allison, and I'm along with Craig Cole. I'm subbing for the vacationing Bill Payton.
Probably in sunny California. He's visiting Stanford today.
Next week he'll be out on the East Coast. Little coast-to-coast travel. I could use that break.
1:30 left in the half. It's been a quick game. Game's gone very quick because all the actions have been mainly on the ground. LT tends to pass a little more. They've used the pass pretty effectively for the weather conditions today, but the last couple times it just hasn't gone right for LT at all. And the secondary's been playing very well for Glenbard West.
No let up in the forecast. It'll probably still be raining when this game ends.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio this morning and woke up and the guys were joking about, yeah, there's a 100% chance of rain. Guess that means it's gonna rain today. So the rain keeps coming down and the field gets muddier and muddier and the players get dirtier and dirtier, and parents are gonna have a fun time watching the uniforms tonight. 2 men in the backfield. That's Konopka going in motion. It's a handoff up the middle to Ostrowski, who trips over 1 man but keeps his legs about him and gains maybe a yard more. Make it a gain of 2, be a 4th and 1. Ostrowski found a little bit of a hole, but he tripped over the first man, but had the presence of mind to keep his legs going, and then he was gang tackled by the LT defense after another yard. As the rain starts to come down again, kind of off and on all day like a faucet.
Lyons Township calls another timeout. There's 1:16 left in the first half. Score is 14-6.
It's 4th and 1 for Glenbard West, and they'll probably go for it, keep the ball on the ground. It's a very crucial, if they go for it, it'd be very crucial, because if they don't get it, then LT is in an excellent scoring position, and there's plenty of time with 1:16.
LT's used 2 timeouts though and would only be able to stop the clock once.
Would be able to go in for the touchdown. Thank you, Matt, for pointing that fact out. But on the pass play, they can get outside with those quick sideline passes. So we'll have to see what happens. It appears to be that they might just, they're gonna try the punt. But I don't know. I think they might fake it here. It might be a good time to use those fakes that they use in practice.
Looks like they're gonna play it safe, but you never know with head coach Jim Covert.
1:16. Okay, Sweet's gonna kick it off. It's gonna be a low line drive to George Rainey, who picks it up at the 45-yard line, and he's pursued by Jensen again, who brushes him out of bounds. Excellent job by Jensen, who gets a mud bath after that one, but Jensen sure has done a great job on the punt return so far today, covering very well.
Jensen, always the first one down there, has been in 3 tackles. His uniform was relatively clean until he jumped into the pool in the benches for Lyons Township.
I think Jensen is not being blocked at all at the offensive line. He's just getting right there. He's just releasing as soon as the ball is kicked and getting down there. As Peaks has 1:08 left to go in the half to get something generated, and they'll probably put it up in the air as they've been doing all game so far. Rainey in the backfield. What names for this kind of day. Chuck and George. George is number 20, Chuck is number 35. As Peaks takes the handoff, it's gonna be a handoff to George, trying to get outside, gets by one man, and gains about maybe a yard. So with 1:02 left, that took off about 8 seconds on the clock on that run. Very surprising, trying to run on the first play. Good pursuit there by the defense of Glenbard West, shutting down the outside.
1:02 left. It'll be 2nd and 8, Glenbard leading 14-6. Lyons Township with the ball, attempting to bring the game back into reach before the half.
They're down by 8 points. 2 men split either side. Defense, secondary playing off. Peaks throwing long. He's got a man in the middle, and it's caught at the 35-yard line by a relatively clean number 88, Michael Malley. At the 33-yard line, so they've got to rush up there. 56 seconds left on the clock. Not ticking. Stop it because they move the chains, and they'll start to move the clock right about now. So he was in good coverage there. The defensive back was behind him though. As Peaks throws again over the middle, but it was incomplete. But there will be a flag on the play because he was hit before the ball got to him, I think.
Looked to me like I think that was Kirchman. He ran into the defender, but they're calling the interference against Glenbard. Well, I don't agree with that call.
It's a judgment call on the referee's part, and it's a break for LT with 49 seconds left in the half. We'll have to see if LT can capitalize on their advantage there by the referee.
Didn't see who the defender was, but he was standing there, and Kirchman cut across in the post pattern and just knocked him right over, but referee called what he thought was right, so there'll be a 1st down and 10 with 49 seconds left on the Glenbard 20.
Defense talking things over. Brian McCorder talking to Sean Kelly, Jeff Sweet trying to get assignments down pat.
Effectively stopping the clock. Lyons hasn't had to use their 3rd timeout.
They're telling a Glenbard West player to get off the field. As George Rainey goes in motion. Fades back, knows a handoff up the middle to Chuck Rainey, and he goes up the middle for a gain of about 6 yards. And they'll stop the clock, timeout, LT, and that's their 3rd timeout, I believe. 41 seconds left on the clock, so they're gonna have to get their next series of downs figured out now and try to put it in the end zone before halftime, and that'll really take the momentum away from Glenbard West.
A nice draw play for Chuck Rainey, just stood back there and awaited the handoff pickup of 5 yards.
You have to wonder why head coach Jim Covert called for the punt with a 4th and 1 situation when they could have faked it, or they could have given it to Ostrowski or Kanapka up the middle and probably got the first down and eliminated this kind of situation right now.
I think on any other day it would have, but with the field as slippery as this, you just don't want to take the chance. And he thinks that the defense will be able to stop them, and they still might. 41 seconds, time might run out on them. They have no more timeouts. So either they'll keep it in the air, or they'll attempt to run around the sidelines to be able to step out of bounds to stop the clock.
It's 2nd and 6, 41 seconds left on the clock. Glenbard West is up 14-6 and going into the second half. And we've got 2 men split wide, one on either side. Mills, you have to watch Mills on the near side. As the whistle's blown dead, I'm not sure exactly what was going on there. Having trouble seeing the field.
I believe there's a flag on the play.
Preliminary signal is false start against Lions.
Could be a legal motion against Lions.
Penalty moves the ball back to the 21-yard line. Makes it 2nd and 11 Lions.
Okay, so 2nd and 11 for Lions as they move the ball back 5 yards. 39 seconds left on the clock. That really hurt Lions. They really didn't need that penalty at all. As Peaks, under pressure, trips over his own blocker. Sweet on the blitz, came right in there, and Peaks got around him, and there was a good block there by the LT man, but he was blocked by that blocker who took Sweet out. He was tripped up by the blocker that took Sweet out.
Rushed offense, they're not able to stop the clock. Passes, and
almost intercepted.
Incomplete.
As they tried to throw it out of bounds, and didn't get it didn't get it high enough in the air. Number 11, Chris Hart, playing defense, a secondary, almost able to tip the ball up.
So
20 seconds left on the clock.
it's 4th and 16. The down now becomes a factor. If they don't make the first down, Glenbard West will take possession with maybe 15 seconds left and try one big play. But it looks like there's going to be a field goal attempt.
Right, they've sent in number 13. That's Siam Bekos. And he's got a strong leg. It's going to be a 30. It's going to be a 30. It's going to be a 40. It's a fake. It's a fake as Puba trying to get outside. They're ready for it as Glenbard West takes him down. Good defense alertness there by the Glenbard West defense. They were not being fooled. That would have been a 44-yard field goal by Siam Bekos in this kind of weather. And Glenbard West just wasn't going for that one. As Puba just tried to run outside, didn't find any running room as Glenbard West was right on top of him, and they brought him down. So there'll be 10 seconds left in the game as Glenbard West will probably just stand in the huddle until halftime.
5, 4. They're going to let the clock run out. So the score at halftime will be Glenbard West 14 on scores a 75-yard kickoff return from.
No, excuse, that was the first score.
Oh, a
was
fumble
by
return.
Jeff Sweet on the first play by LT, which was set up by a Glenbard West fumble. On the first play by LT, Sweet ran 75 yards after the fumble, all the way into the end zone. Pat Young, the junior, put the kick up, and it was 7-0. Later on in the first quarter, George Rainey came in after a couple passes from LT, ran in from 3 yards out, and it was 7-6. The point by Siam Bekos was not kicked, so it was 7-6. In the second quarter, Hart on a 5-yard rollout got into the end zone. So the score standing 14-6. Glenbard West in the lead over Lyons Township. We'll send you back to the station. This is Craig Cole along with Matt Allison, and we'll join you after halftime with some more exciting action here from Bennett Field in Lyons Township. We'll send you back up to the station now. Over the Lions of LT. After one half of play, the stats read, let's see, Jim Kanapka is 10 carries for 10 yards. He's not being very effective today on this kind of field. On the other hand, Ostrowski is 5 carries, 11 yards, so that's 21 yards total on the ground today.
Chris Hart also has carried twice, and he has 13 yards, including a 5-yard sweep for a touchdown in the second quarter. So that is still only 34 yards on the ground.
These are unofficial, of course.
Yes.
Hart has thrown twice for 30 yards. And on the LT side, Chuck Rainey is 7 carries for 4 yards, and George Rainey is 3 carries for 9 yards. Steve Peak, the quarterback, has thrown 13 times. Has completed 5 of them, and those for 107 yards. So LT leads on the yardage, total yardage, 120 yards to
I'd say approximately 64
yards. So, but the score obviously does not show that at all. Most of the yards for LT have been in the air, and the passing game is so erratic that they can't get the first down when they need it. This is LT. They can't get the first down when they need it. They can't move up and down the field at will because the passing game is so wiped out by the rain. The running game is going absolutely nowhere for both teams. As you can see, Glenbard West has 21 yards on the ground and LT has 13. So it just shows you that the field out there is terribly wet. Both offenses are really having a terrible time of it out there.
It's let up once again, but it's still coming down in a light fuzz or fizz. A light mist of rain.
Both teams just coming out on the field. We'll have about 2 minutes before they start play again. Just to recap the scoring. In the first quarter, Jeff Sweet on a 75-yard fumble return scored the first touchdown of the game. That was about after 37 seconds had gone in the game. And then Glenbard West got the kickoff return. Sweet fumbled once, picked it up and ran up, and then fumbled it on the kickoff return. And then LT got the ball. LT on their first play fumbled, and Jeff Sweet redeemed himself, picked it up, and ran 75 yards for the touchdown.
They're allowing the teams to stretch a little bit before the start of the second half. There's about 2 minutes before starting time. Analyzing the first half a little bit, Lyons Township did lead in total yards, but they had a little problem with turnovers. So if you can't keep the ball, you're not going to score. Craig has a little more recapping.
George Rainey then scored for LT on a 3-yard run that was set up by a couple pass plays, and LT couldn't put the extra point. And then later on, Chris Hart ended the scoring in the first half by rolling out at the 5-yard line and putting it in for the touchdown, and Pat Young made the extra point, putting them up as the score stands 14-6. In the first quarter, there were 4 turnovers, 1 fumble by Glenbard West, 1 fumble by LT, 1 interception by Glenbard West, and 1 interception by LT. In the second quarter, there were relatively no fumbles, people getting the hang of playing in the rain. As LT takes the field, they will receive, and Glenbard West, of course, will kick off. LT will be on our left side, and Glenbard West will be on our right for those for those on the radio. 38 seconds before we start the game. Glenbard West has to keep playing. They'll play conservative in the second half. Won't try anything tricky unless they have to, and we'll see what they can come up with. You can tell the players that haven't played today by their uniforms. Both teams incredibly muddy, and they've been playing a very tough game. It's really tough on the defensive and offensive lines to get your footing and to get those initial blasts that you need to open the holes on the offense and to keep the running game down.
Looks like Lions will be kicking off.
Lions, okay, this is what happened. Glenbard West elected to receive in the first half, and then I guess LT declined to receive. Maybe they want the fumble or something. They just
Don't see that very often.
They just declined to receive. Maybe they can get the fumble from. They don't want to cause a fumble right at the beginning. I don't know what the reason is before that. So Glenbard West will receive. They may have want the field position. There are no flags out here that I can tell. There's no wind that I can tell out here as the kicker kicks off. It's fumbled by Holmes. He picks it up the middle. He's covering it very well, and he'll run right up the middle for a gain of about up to the 26-yard line. Barry Holmes fumbled it, picked it up, and covered the ball very well and ran up the middle. Chris Greger on the tackle. So Glenbard West will start at the 23-yard line, the 26-yard line, 1st and 10. Start of the second half. I'm Craig Cole along with Matt Allison, subbing for the vacationing Bill Payton. 11:43, about 17 seconds off the clock on the kickoff return. Hart, the quarterback, runs, keeps it himself, and gains about 6 yards off the tackle. A good play right there. They opened it up, and he was finally brought down. Trying to get out to that hash mark, to the near side hash mark, so they don't have to run all the plays up the middle where all the mud is.
Chris Hart now in 3 carries. It's equaled the running efforts of juniors Jim Kanapka and Curtis Ostrowski in 15 tries. So an effective quarterback keeper has been one of the reasons Glenbard is on top this game.
Handoff to Kanapka up the middle, and he keeps his legs moving, but his forward progress is stopped, and a gang tackle again by the LT defense. They want to make sure Kanapka doesn't go anywhere. He only gained 10 yards in the first half, which is really quite amazing, but for this weather you just can't say anything for it. So we'll see if Glenbard West, it'll be 3rd and about 3 yards out of the 35-yard line. Got to get down to the 38. Hart, the quarterback, he's a senior, and the 2 juniors in the backfield. And it's a fumble, and LT, I believe, has it. And that's right, that's what happened. Another missed exchange between the quarterback, Hart, and the center, Wozniak, and it's plagued them all season, and it's happened again, and this time it was a fatal what could be a fatal mistake now that LT has the ball at the 34-yard line. 1st and 10 going the other way now in Glenbard West territory.
What can you say? Glenbard West fumbled early in the first quarter, and here they are fumbling it away early in the 3rd quarter. Amazingly, there were no turnovers in the 2nd quarter, but it started up quickly in the 2nd half. So Lions will maintain possession, will get possession on the Glenbard West
Safety
35.
blitz is on by Sweet. Safety blitz. Pitch out the Rainey. That's George. He runs outside, has some room, gets by a tackler, and then trips. A good block on the outside by the LT defender, and George Rainey was able to get outside, and he had some running room down the sideline, but he tripped. And to get down to about the 30-yard line, gain of about 4 yards. He had more yards coming to him, though. 9:20 left in the first quarter. The 3rd quarter. Score leading 14-6 is Glenbard West over the Lions of LT. They call it the Lion Pride. They have the Rainey brothers in the backfield, George and Chuck. George 20, number 20. And they're going to call it penalty, and we'll see what it is. And I think Anand lined up, number 88, lined up in the neutral zone. That's Mike O'Malley lining up in the neutral zone. That's between.
5-yard penalty to Lions, failure to wear required equipment.
Oh, excuse me. They pointed at him, and I thought that he was offsides, but he was not wearing his mouthpiece. Thank you, Coach Klein, for pointing that out to us. 8:48 left in the 3rd quarter. So O'Malley has his mouthpiece in now, and I'll try again.
Peak takes a snap and pitches back to Chuck Rainey, who pummels forward for about 3 yards. It'll be about 3rd and 8.
What probably would have been a Third and 2 is now 3rd and 7 because of that penalty.
Cars parked along the east fence.
8:14 left in the quarter.
Cars parked along that fence must be
They shuttle in. Mike O'Malley comes off the field
There is a police
for number
vehicle.
40.
We'll be glad to take it back.
Jim Kirschman will be in the game now, shuttling in the play. Randy Wozniak on the defense, telling his Glenbard West hitters just to stay calm, be aggressive on the defensive line, and try to get your footing and block that, stop the run. 6-1 defense played by Glenbard West. It's going to be a quickie, and it's intercepted by Brian McWhorter, and he dropped it. So it's incomplete interception there by Brian McWhorter. 7:42 left in the 3rd quarter. He stepped right in front of the intended receiver, Kirchman.
Kirchman made a nice play, however, as soon as McWhorter had his hands on the ball, he shoved him, and he just couldn't keep control of it, and it fell to the ground. Tried to pick it up to make it look like he had the interception, but no fooling the line judge there. So it'll be 4th and 7. See what they do. They're going to go for it.
They're going to split Mills low to the near side and O'Malley far to the far side, and they're going to go back to pass. Peaks has got time over the middle, and it's right past the reach of Mike O'Malley. And Mike O'Malley tried to dive for it, but it was just past his reach, and he probably would have caught it. He was covered well, but the defensive back again was behind him.
Glenbard West will take over possession on their own 31-yard line, 1st and 10, with 7:37 left in the 3rd quarter. The Hilltoppers leading the Lions of LaGrange 14-6.
You notice how many people they had to bring in to go to the offense? Just a couple, because the defense and the offenses are interchangeable. Ostrowski, who takes the first carry, he's got some room. Stacked up by the Lions defense as soon as he hit the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 9, call it. 7:21 left in the 3rd quarter. Nothing going anywhere for both teams here.
Both teams highly ranked in the Chicago area polls. Glenbard, after having a beautiful upset of Downers Grove North last Friday night, is ranked third in the Chicago area, while LaGrange, also undefeated and tied for the West Suburban lead, is ranked 7th.
Pitch out to Kanopka, and he runs into trouble as soon as he hits the line of scrimmage, and Kanopka just goes maybe a yard or so. It'll be 3rd and 8, and the Lions Township defense was right there, good pursuit, and they gang tackled him again.
Ball carrier brought down by Craig Leminski after a gain of 1. 3rd and 8.
Come on. 6:39 left.
17.
14-6 in favor of Glenbard West. Not much of a generating offense
On
by
either
both
side.
teams in the first half at all. Hart, the quarterback, calling the signals. Hands off to Kanopka, goes up the middle. Nothing doing again as he just can't find his footing or
Gain of 1 moves it to the
the hole.
4th and 7.
Doesn't look as aggressive or as quick off the handoff as he has in recent games. He has had six consecutive 100 yards plus rushing games, but doesn't look so for this game unless he can break a big one and then be consistent in the 4th quarter.
It's just hard to get the footing. The running backs are going, but no running back has over 30 yards. Sweet back to punt. Low snap, he's got it. They're going for the return. George Rainey lets it skip by him. He's at the 29, he'll have to pick it up. There's a flag on the play as Rainey gets a good block and he gets up to the 34-yard line. But there is a flag on the play, and the ref was standing right behind Rainey as he threw it, and he saw probably a clip in the line,
At the start of the 4th quarter,
which will really hurt LT and put him way back.
LT Varsity Soccer is winning 4-0
We'll have to see what the call is.
against
5,
Brookfield with goals
10,
by Ken Ingersoll,
15 yards. It'll be definitely a clip on that play, blocking below the waist or something of that kind. So they'll bring it all the way back to the 19-yard line.
Personal foul, clipping. Ball
Right, it's a
gets
clipping
flagged,
call.
moves the ball back to the 20-yard line.
The 20-yard line, 1st and 10,
10 Lions at their own 20.
with 5:31 left in the 3rd quarter. Listening to WGHS 88.5 FM, the home of Glenbard West sports and more. as well as serving the Glen Ellen community. This game is kind of anticlimactic after the Downers Grove North game, but the Glenbard West players knew they had to win this one too, because this is going to be a tough one also. Peaks hands off to George Rainey, and he's immediately hit by, and he gets loose again, and gets about a yard, maybe not, he probably loses a yard on that play, but he really showed that he could stay up there. He kept his legs moving and was finally pushed out of bounds by a host of Glenbard West hitters, but not after he was able to squirt through a lot of tackles.
Jeff Sweet clutching his arm on that play. He might have hit the ground wrong and got his arm twisted underneath his body, but he looks to be okay. He'll stay in the game. Going to lose silver helmeted Sweet. Silver helmet is a symbol of your hard work in practice. 100 club. Yeah, 100 club. And only a select few of the Hilltoppers wear them, including Andy Androsik, Chris Hart. Jim Konopka is the first junior ever to wear a silver helmet.
Fitting back is Steve Peak. It's going to be a screen, and Rainey's got it on the far side, and he trips, finally upended there by Brian McCorder, who played that one very well. Peaks fade back, all the way back to his end zone, and he was setting up the defensive line to come in and rush him, but the defensive line really wasn't giving in to that one, and didn't go for very much as Rainey went on the outside. 4:31 left in the third quarter. Score is 14-6 in favor of our very own hitters. Could go 7-0 after this one and probably stay third in state because of the two teams in front of them, Joliet Catholic and Conant, I think.
Yep. Joliet Catholic, also a 5A team, poses the biggest threat for Glenbard West if they do indeed do well in the Class 5A playoffs.
It's a third down kick. They decide the third quick kick by LT, and nobody was ready for it on Glenbard West. 45-yard line of Glenbard West, and they'll take over 1st and 10. LT deciding that they're not going to try to risk anything way back at their own way back in their own territory, so they decide to quick kick with a 3rd and 20, I think, on that last play. It's probably a smart decision. They've got Glenbard West at the 45, which isn't too bad field position for that kind of play.
Okay, Hart up at the line.
Hart gives it off to Konopka, and he tries to squeak through off the tackle, but he's just going absolutely nowhere. He stays up for a while, but the Lions just come over and nail him to the wall, so it'll be 2nd and about 9 after a gain of 1 by Konopka. 3:23. They'll probably just keep it on the ground, try to run the clock down, and hope that they can keep LT from scoring after that.
So it'll be 2nd and 9. Chris Hart takes a snap from Randy Wozniak, hands off Konopka again, going absolutely nowhere.
The Lions' pride defense just says, no way, you ain't going anywhere. And Konopka went nowhere, and he probably lost about a yard, so it'll be 3rd and 9.
Number 42 for LT, Dan Nash, shuttling in the play.
The defense of LT is just, they gang tackle. That's all they want to do. They want to make sure everybody's in on the tackle. The pursuit is, they pursue very well, and their defensive line is really playing extremely well against a very fine offensive line of Glenbard West. Wozniak the center with the white helmet. Not too many of those showing out there. Snaps to Hart. Hands off to Konopka, who goes off the side, off the guard on the near side, and maybe gains about 3 yards. 4th and 7, 2:05 left in the third quarter, and they're probably going to punt as Hart comes off the field. The rain comes down again in torrents. It's just off and on, and usually very hard. Right now it's raining very hard, and the field is very wet, very damp, and very slippery. As an LT player, Kurt Mills, I believe, almost blocked as Sweet tries to act his way to a penalty as Kurt Mills picks it up to 22 and is immediately hit by,
Kurt Mills back for LT.
I'm not sure who that is,
The Lions have
a hit by a
the
Glenbard
ball
West
first
player.
and 10
So LT will start 1st and 10 at the 23-yard line and try to get some points on the board. They're 8 points down. If they score, they have to go for the 2 points after the touchdown.
The rain has kept this from being an exciting game. Keeps the fan away, which cuts down on the excitement. The two teams are just out there playing.
They're trying to get as much. They're just trying to use the ground plays and try to see as much as they can. Try to see how much they can get done.
Okay, so Steve Peak will bring up the line for LT. Takes a snap.
Gonna fade back, looking, has time, he throws. He got it to Mills, but at the last moment, Dirk Meyer was right there and knocked it down. Good defensive play by Dirk Meyer.
The pass was intended for Kurt Mills, and Meyer just jumped up and knocked it out of the reach of the hands of Kurt Mills.
The defensive secondary has really been tested today a couple times, and they've done well with the kind of footing they have out there. So we'll see if LT, 2nd and 10, will try a pass again. They've been passing most of the game. A couple runs to the Rainey brothers, but the run hasn't been effective for either team, and the pass seems to be a little more effective for Lions.
Shotgun formation.
Blitz is on by Glenbard West to bring in everyone. They throw, and the defender slipped. If Peaks had thrown it on target, number 88, Mike O'Malley, was wide open, and because of the defender who slipped down. But Peaks, under pressure from the host of Glenbard West players, just tried to dump it off, and O'Malley just wasn't out there for the pass.
52 seconds left in the 3rd quarter of play. It's 14-6. Ball on the Glenbard zone 24. Lyon Township zone 24. 3rd and 10.
Peaks again in shotgun formation. 2 men on the near side. And Peaks looking, throwing over the middle, intended for number 82 of LT. That's Doug Struckman over the middle, but just was thrown very inaccurately, and Struckman just wasn't right there for the pass.
3 incomplete passes in a row will force a 4th and 10 situation, probably a punting situation. So,
well,
Glenbard West will have the ball. Time ticking down in this game, 49 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter.
They're going to have to punt because no way can they go for a 4th and 10 situation. If they miss it, Glenbard West is in excellent field position. So number 62 is going to punt off for for LT, and Sweet is right under it at the 35, the 40, and he's looking for some room, and he can't even find his footing. He didn't know where to go, and he just ice skated down to the 42-yard line.
That was Kurt Kahn with the punt for Lions, as he has all day. And Jeff Sweet keeping possession for Glenbard. That's all you can ask for. Don't want to fumble here.
34 seconds left in the 3rd quarter as Glenbard West just trying to keep hold of the ball, maybe try to put it into the end zone, and most importantly, keep the clock running down. It's Hart fades back to pass. Under pressure, he's gonna have to run up the middle. He's got plenty of room. Back to the line of scrimmage. He's got down to the 50-yard line before he's finally brought down. He had some room up the middle and got it about 8 yards. It'll be 2nd and 2. And the clock will run out the 3rd quarter as Glenbard West leads 14-6 with a quarter left to play here at Bennett Field in Lyons Township. I'm Craig Cole along with Matt Allison for WGHS 88.5 FM. It's been one of those days, very dreary, very wet, and it's cost a lot of yardage for both teams on the ground and in the air. So Glenbard West, LT will have the ball 2nd.
Now Glenbard will have the ball, second and
right.
2.
Second and they put the chains in the wrong position.
Riverside Brookfield with a final score of 6-0. With goals by 2 goals by Kenny Grisol, 1 by Ed Rivera. Goals by Tom Gifford, Boris
I
Vukovic,
can't
and Al
remember
Seeley
if
James.
the film broke
3
before
of the 6
that or
goals
after.
were scored by sophomores. The varsity will be playing again Monday afternoon at either
So Glenbard West starts the fourth quarter, second and 2.
The answer is maybe.
And we'll see if
Somewhere in the early afternoon on Monday.
See if Glenbard West can just keep hold of the ball. Konopka and Ostrowski in the backfield, 2 juniors and senior quarterback Chris Hart. Jeff Sweet on the near side. He's a senior in the slot position. Hart rolling out. He's going to run it himself. He's got the first down and more. He's got some running room down the sideline, and he's down to the 30-yard line before he's finally brought down by number 82 of Lyons Township,
Chris Hart.
Doug Struckman.
Chris Hart very effectively using the sweep. He's picked up now, I'd say, around 40 yards rushing, more than all the other players on Glenbard and maybe even Lyons Township combined.
We'll have to find that out for you. Hart set that up very well. He rolled out very slowly, looking as though he was going to pass, and then at one moment, he just broke it around the end. That just turned on the speed.
It's a first down for Glenbard, one of the few first downs either team has had so far this year.
Official time.
Timeout. An official timeout called. Now they started up again.
Send Glenbard West back to the huddle as the LT Lions Pride defense waits for Glenbard West. They've been doing a good job today so far.
It's a mud bath out in the middle area of that field. There's no grass there anymore.
Well, it's LT's last home game, so they can just plant some grass after this one. Pitch out to Ostrowski. It's going to be a halfback pass, but Ostrowski fumbles it before he could pass it.
Ostrowski's tried that play a couple times before with some success. So I recall they threw a touchdown against York with the halfbacks option.
Right, they tried that before and it's been effective, but Ostrowski just fumbled the ball, couldn't keep his hands on it. So 10:44 left. Glenbard West still leads 14-6. And it'll be second and 17 yards. Glenbard West. A little confusion on the offense as they shift the backs. And there'll be a penalty. We'll find out. I guess it's against Glenbard West. We'll find out real quickly here. That could really put them way back. They're moving them back. It's against. Is it against? They moved Glenbard West back, and I think it's against LT. A little confusion here. No, they'll move Glenbard West back. Okay, it'll be a 5-yard penalty. It's illegal motion against
the ref walked
Glenbard
off.
West.
The ref walked off the penalty against LaGrange before finally figuring out that it was going the wrong way. Snap, pitch back to Ostrowski. Brought down at the line.
That absolutely went nowhere. Good pursuit there by Lyons Township.
So that'll bring a 3rd and 22.
9:55, and the clock keeps going down as Glenbard West has had the ball for about 4 minutes now. Keep winding down that clock. As Wozniak brings him up to the line, the center. They split Sweet out to the near side. Still behind the offensive line though, in the backfield. Hart, quarterback sneak, goes nowhere, maybe a yard. They tried that at the beginning of the offensive drive and it worked, but this time it was absolutely went nowhere. Good anticipation there by the defensive LT.
Seems to work more if it's a broken play rather than a planned play. But it'll be a punting situation for Glenbard West, 4th and 21 on their own 40-yard line. Or excuse me, on LaGrange's 40-yard line.
They'll send Rainey and Mills back. As George Rainey back there at the 15 along with Kurt Mills, and Jeff Sweet will punt for Glenbard West. standing about his own 50-yard line. Almost blocked as Rainey picks it up and is pummeled on by Rich Jensen. Rainey didn't call a fair catch, and he was hit hard as soon as he caught the ball.
Rich Jensen was down there a good 2 or 3 seconds before Rainey even caught the ball, and ready to pounce on him if he didn't call the fair catch sign, which he didn't. So, I believe it's 6:43 left. Clock's a little dim, either 6 or 8, can't tell. Anyways, it's fourth quarter and Glenbard leading 14-6, same score as they were leading at halftime. You're listening to live football on WGHS 88.5 FM.
Okay, so they got 2 receivers split, one on either side. Mills at the near side as Peaks is in shotgun formation. He's looking for Rainey coming out of the backfield. He's caught it, and Brian McWhorter tries to put him out of bounds, but he's still down the sidelines. And finally hit out of bounds by number 86, Tom Bondrak. McWhorter was on another coverage on that play. He came up and tried to tackle Rainey, but Rainey skidded off his tackle and got some yards down the sideline before Tom Bondrak finally hit him.
That was a beautiful catch by Rainey. He stepped in front of the ball right before going out of bounds and picked up another good 20 yards. Rainey showing, George Rainey that is, showing tremendous ability as a receiver as well as a running back. He's got a couple big catches, and that keeps the drive alive. 1st and 10 on their own 41-yard line.
So LT tried to capitalize on the momentum switch. 2 men on the far side. As Peaks hands off to Chuck Rainey, who gains about 2 yards. So he went back to conservative play on that one on the 1st and 10 situation. It'll be 2nd and about 7 at the 44-yard line. 7:53 left in the game. Glenbard West up 14-6 as LT moving their offense for about the first time in this whole half.
There's 7:40 left in the game now. Lions controlling the ball. They're down by 8 points. If they can score, they'll probably try for the 2-point conversion. They have to.
Kirchman is split wide to the far side, and Mills is to the near side as far as he can go towards the sidelines. Peaks in shotgun formation looks for Kirchman, and he catches it, and the flag goes down.
That'll be pass interference on
Jeff Sweet.
Jeff Sweet. He hit him flagrantly before the ball was there.
I don't know. I think he tried to get to the ball. He slipped and ran into him. I don't know.
It's not sweet, it's hard, I think.
I'm trying to figure out who was out there.
Can't read the number. It's totally covered with mud.
We won't be. Well, whoever it was caused a 15-yard penalty, and it'll go down to the 40-yard line. 1st and 10 for LT as they keep moving. It was a silver helmet. It might have been Chris Hart out there on the far side, but it's all irrelevant right now. Is
set up in the shotgun, fades back to pass.
Peaks throws over the middle, and right in the middle there was intercepted by
32. That's Jim Konopka.
And runs it back to the 28-yard line. Unbelievable. Konopka, Peaks threw it right over the middle, and Konopka just stuck his hand out like it's there. Let's tip it. Tipped it up in the air. He looked around, looked at it, let it fall into his hands, and then took off with it.
Nice return too. So Glenbard avoids that threat. Costly turnover for LaGrange, and so now with 7:05 left in the fourth quarter, Glenbard West will have the ball.
What set up Konopka's return was a good block there by Andrzejczyk. Luckily it wasn't a clip. It just got the man right out, and Konopka was able to return it. So now LT, who was about to score, probably would have scored on that play, really driving down there, capitalizing on a couple of Glenbard West mistakes, was able to move it all the way down to the 30-yard line, and then finally ran into the 40-yard line and finally ran into some trouble when Peaks finally threw an interception to Konopka. It's a timeout is called.
Glenbard West calling the timeout. Going to find out what they're going to do on this drive.
The team will be playing at 4 o'clock.
They have the ball on their own 35-yard line.
Joseph High School.
Want to score here to put the game almost out of reach.
They'll just keep it on the ground. Maybe a pass here and there and just play conservative, play Glenbard West brand of football, and keep the score in their favor. It's unfortunate that two fine teams like this have to play in such a muck. You know, it's really not a fair comparison between the two teams. But what has happened is Glenbard West has just been able to dominate, been able to score on the lucky breaks. His Hart's going to roll out, gets to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. No gain.
No gain. 2nd and 10 Glenbard at their own 35.
Tried to roll out to the far side toward the sideline, and it worked before, but not this time. 6:49 left in the game. Glenbard West up 14-6. Second and 10 on the 35-yard line. Not a lot of fans on either side, as you would expect for a game of this caliber because of the rain. About as many fans here from Glenbard West as there are from Lions. Hart takes the snap and runs into his own man, but gives him the ball
1 yard gain made
about maybe 1 yard.
Glenbard at their own 36.
Not sure who ran that one.
Nothing really happening in this game. It's just they're pulling the plays off, but nothing's really occurring. It'll be 3rd and 9. Rather lackluster game. Glenbard West has come out on top, though.
5:57 left in the fourth quarter, and we'll see what Glenbard West can do on 3rd and 9. See if they can get something rolling here.
Hart hasn't put the ball in the air very much. I believe he has 3 completions.
Well, he won't put it up in the air here. That would be too dangerous, especially since Peaks has, I think, 2 interceptions today. As Hart's going to roll out, and he gains about 3 yards before he's finally put out on the far sidelines. So it'll be 4th and about 7, and Glenbard West will be forced to punt, and they'll make sure that there's really no chance of a punt return here of any significance, as Rainey and Mills will be back at the 35-yard line of LT to receive the punt.
Biggest play of the game was probably the 4th and 2 situation in which Hart surprised everybody by passing deep to Andy Andresic, which set up the 5-yard rollout to put Glenbard ahead where they are now, 14-6.
Good snap. Sweet fumbles it though, and he gets it off. A little dribbler goes about 15 yards, but it lies in the mud, and it'll be down at the 46-yard line of LT. Jeff Sweet was lucky to get that one off. He couldn't handle the snap, although it was a good snap by the center, and just dribbled it off sliced it off his foot and got about 15 yards out of the kick. 14-6 left in the fourth quarter. 5:10. As the offensive LT has to get some points on the board, they have to score 8 points. Peaks back after the shotgun formation, throwing high. It's going to be intercepted again.
It's Konopka again, I believe.
27 yard to the 37-yard line. Interception by Glenbard takes the ball back to the 38-yard line.
If we can see.
They're trying to figure out who got the interception. I believe it was Konopka.
Yeah, that was Jim Konopka. Second interception in as many offensive plays for Lions Township.
He put Peaks has thrown 2 interceptions in a row, and he threw that one high, and it was just wobbling up in the air. It wasn't a very good pass, although it was gonna hit the mark. But Konopka playing on his man was able to step in front and intercept it.
Time running down, 4:30 left in the game.
1st and 10 at the 37. Pitch out to Konopka, and he gains about 1 yard before he's pummeled back by the defensive line of LT, who has played extremely well in the conditions that they've had to play in today. So Glenbard West will go back to the huddle, regroup, and try to keep their hands on the ball with 4:08 left in the game. There has been no scoring at all in the second half. The team's just trying to move the ball but it's just not working out for either team. I'll try to get some stats at the end of the game for you all. This is Glenbard West football on WGHS 88.5 FM as Chris Hart comes to the line. Hands off to Ostrowski, who bounces outside, but gets maybe a yard as he tripped over a defensive lineman, bounced outside, and was then tackled by another LT lineman.
All the scoring occurred in the first half. Sweet took back a fumble for a touchdown. George Rainey with a 3-yard run, and then Hart with a 5-yard rollout to take us where we are right now, 14-6.
So Randy Wozniak, the center, with the man with the white helmet in the middle, brings the offensive line up to the scrimmage, and he hands off to Ostrowski, I believe, who gets down maybe a gain of 7, maybe 6 yards to the 45-yard line. So it'll be 3rd and 3, I believe. So LT calls a timeout. They want to know what to do here with 2:51. There's still time left for LT to come back and get those 8 points and maybe tie it and put it into overtime. If LT can get their hands on the ball right now. I don't know if they'll punt or run. If they punt, they'll put LT back in their own territory, providing that they get a good punt this time. And if they run, they get the first down, keep their hands on the ball, and run out the clock. Or if they don't do it, then LT will get possession and pretty decent field position at Glenbard West's 45-yard line.
Head coach Jim Covert has another big decision here. Last time he elected to go for it, and he passed deep and found his receiver and set up a touchdown run by Chris Hart. So we'll see what happens here. This is Glenbard West versus Lyon Township on WGHS 88.5 FM.
Coach Wojcik of Lyons Township has been here for a few years. He's built quite a fine team out of this one. Must be hard for him. His son was injured, the starting quarterback, 2 weeks ago. As Sweet gets a pretty decent punt off this time, and it'll roll down to the 20, and it'll be at the 20-yard line as Rich Jensen right on the play kept Rainey from picking that ball up down to the 20-yard line.
Rich Jensen, once again, the first player down for Glenbard West. 2:42 left in the game. Lions will have possession on their own 19-yard line, 1st and 10. They have to drive down there and then put in a 2-point conversion.
I'm not sure how many timeouts LT has. I think 2. I know they've called 1.
How exciting, huh?
So we'll see if LT can get some points on board. They need 8 points to tie. As Peaks goes back into shotgun formation, he's already thrown 2 interceptions.
He's going to pass
this
again.
Quarter. Mike Compton on the coverage there, covered Rainey very well coming out of the backfield, as Peaks could not get the ball to his receiver Rainey with 2:14 left in the game. 14-6 in favor of Glenbard West. Try to get some stats here for you.
So it's going to be 2nd and 10.
Yeah.
Konopka has 20 carries for 25 yards. Ostrowski has 8 carries for 10 yards. Chris Hart has 8 carries for 50 yards. So he's a leading rusher for Glenbard West. Thanks to John Gallardi for his unofficial stat keeping. As Peaks goes back in the shotgun, as Rainey makes it 3 people on one side, and Rainey's still hanging low as Peaks looking for a receiver, goes to his far side, and he's still looking and dumps it off to nobody in the sideline, and the referee will not call a penalty. There they go. They called it this time because there is no receiver within 10 yards.
That was blatant intentional grounding.
When three of the receivers are on the other side and on the other side of the field, I tend to disagree with Peaks running to the far side. He could have doubled back and still been able to elude the pressure and get in position to throw to his receiver. So just a wrong decision.
No yardage penalty. It'll just be a loss of down.
Okay.
3rd and 10.
Oh, yeah.
3rd and 20.
3rd and 20.
10-yard and a loss of down.
10-yard penalty and a loss of down. So it peaks in a conventional formation with an I formation. So he pitches out. It's going to be a pass. Puba's in, throws long, and he's got Kirchman over there, but he's well covered by Chris Hart. Well covered. That play was very. They've been looking into the films for that one. They were prepared for that one. Chris Hart watching Kirchman all the way down the field as Puba came in to throw.
So it'll be 4th and 20. They have to punt here. They don't want to give up the ball on their own 10-yard line.
Maybe they can hope for a fumble from the punt returner and try to get the ball in better field position than they have now. So it'll be number 62, Craig Kahn, back to kick and is standing at about just at his own goal line. And we have no one back. Nobody back. They're gonna let it roll as it dies in the mud at the 35-yard line. I see the decision in that one. The mud has stopped the ball every time it's come down before, and why risk a fumble?
He was kicking right into the heart of that mud puddle out there. Figured that would stop it well enough, and they didn't want to risk the fumble. And also, if they faked it, which was unlikely, but if they did, they had all their defenders there to try to stop the play.
So Glenbard West making the right decision on that play, leaving the ball to lie.
They'll have great field position. 1:40 left, clock ticking, ball on the 31-yard line.
Maybe try to get a touchdown in before at the end of the game. His Hart rolls out, gets by one tackler, gets by another one, twirls around, gains about 2-3 yards. Good effort by the leading rusher in this game, Chris Hart. I believe now he's about 53 yards to his credit on the ground, 9 carries.
So it'll be 2nd and 9.
Timeout, Lyons Township with 1:18 left in the game. Glenbard West leads 14-6. I'm Craig Cole along with Matt Allison. This is WGHS 88.5 FM. You're listening to Glenbard West football, and it appears right now that barring any serious mistakes by Glenbard West or any serious turnovers, that Glenbard West will go on to be 7-0, lead the conference all by themselves because they beat the two undefeated teams in the conference, Downers Grove and LT.
Next week, Glenbard West will be taking on Hinsdale Central at home. We'll be broadcasting that game along with.
Also this week, we're trying to set up the volleyball regionals this week at Glenbard South.
Saturday, October 29th, I believe that will be, so listen for that. Glenbard West girls volleyball team ended their regular season yesterday with a victory over Oak Forest, the only team to defeat the Hilltoppers through the regular season.
So they're 20. They finished up the season 28-1. So they look good, and so does this football team right here as they lead 14-6. As Chris Hart rolls out behind some blockers, he's got some room, and he gains all the way down, gain of about 6 yards, all the way down to the 27-yard line.
First down.
And there's an LT man injured. They bring in the trainers. No, he's up now. He just popped up. He just needed a breather. That was Kirchman. 1:11 left on the clock. You're listening to Glenbard West football. As Glenbard West again looks like they're rolling to a victory. It's been one of those games that you just one of those games that you just don't like to be at, because it's not a fair contest between either team. In my opinion, that is that it's not a fair contest. You know, with the conditions, it just shows that who can capitalize on whose mistakes. And this time, Glenbard West is able to show their poise in this kind of weather, and they're going to go on to win.
Well, both teams have to play, so it's
right.
They both have to play in the mud. It's not.
Maybe it's not the word fair that I'm trying to use. It's not a.
Yeah, it's the team who's better equipped to play in the mud. On regular fields, this might have been a totally different game. I believe it would have, Kanapka would have been more effective on the ground.
Not to mention, but the passing on Peaks would have been more effective. The receivers probably would have been open.
But Stefani,
Definitely in white. Hasn't played much today at all, and he's got
And there
his
he goes.
baptism in the mud. So he'll go down after a loss of about a yard. It'll be 4th and 3. Stefani getting some playing time in. His Hart has done a good job both on offense and defense.
Loss of 2 makes it
So Stefani no longer still stands out there, but he's still covered with that mud.
we're under 1 minute to play.
The LT defense done a pretty good job today. They love to gang tackle, and they've done a good job pursuing the run today. 45 seconds, clock ticking down. Glenbard will probably take this play and maybe waste as much time as possible, and now this may be the last play of the game. And Hart's back in, and so he's gonna roll out, and he's gonna get the first down. And it'll be a first down. They'll stop the clock as they move the change with 33 seconds. So they brought Stefani in to run it, and now they decide, well, if they can't get the first down, let's put it in. Maybe we can get a touchdown out of this one.
at the 24-yard line.
Maybe that's their reasoning. They're gonna have to hurry though with 33 seconds. They start the clock and it'll wind down. "24 seconds. Hart calls the play. 18, that'll be the game. They'll probably just fall down on it.
Nine seconds and counting. Hart will take the snap.
Sweet is gonna fall down. Hart takes the snap and falls down. Sweet makes sure that was standing back there in case Hart fumbled the snap, and would be the safety valve. With 3 seconds left on the clock.
Against Glenbard, 5-yard penalty will move the ball back.
Delay game called on Glenbard. 3 seconds left. Has no bearing on the game. 14-6 will be the final score.
Something exciting about this one here.
Would like to thank our engineers back at the station, John Potabom and Scott Norton.
Has been one of the greatest games in the world, but it's been great in that Glenbard West will keep their undefeated mark, go 7-0 and 5-0 in conference.
And the rain is starting to come down again.
And Chris Hart falls down, and he was taken down by the LT defenders. They hit the ground hard, but it's over. 14-6 in favor of Glenbard West. So Glenbard West will go on to meet Hinsdale Central next week, and let's hope they can do well next week. Next week we'll be broadcasting from home. It'll be Parents' Day. We hope to see you all out at the out at Dushan Field. We're glad you could join us. We're glad you could join us this afternoon for this very dreary game.
Have a good weekend, and we'll
And catch us next weekend as we broadcast from Dushan Field, and hopefully from Glenbard South for the volleyball tournament out regionals as we follow them downstate. And we'll try to get the real quickly recap the scoring. All happened in the first half. Sweet 75-yard fumble recovery, went all the way for the touchdown and the LT fumble. Then George Rainey ran in from 3 yards out later on in the first quarter. And then Chris Hart, after a pass to Andy Andrzejczyk on 4th and 2, ran in from 5 yards out. So